Hello, everyone. This is ALR Silver Season Review of Season 4 as well. And we start off with a jump start, don't we? As we've also started off with a crash as well. Superb stuff. But that's actually perfect. Not for New Potato, by the way, but for as like, so we need to talk about New Potato in just a minute. I'd like to welcome along Alex. Then, Alex, this is Season 4 of Silver. I remember when we first started in Russia, I think it was, and it was just a pipe dream as well. We've come a long way since then. Now we've had some ups and we've had some downs, but my word, then it's been a fantastic journey.
Yeah, great to have Silver Season 4 on, and like I said, unlucky for New Potato there, probably trying to do a bit of traction control off, yeah, very difficult on the starts. But yeah, Silver once again, it's been one of those seasons where they've really sort of taken the fight to themselves, really, in that sense, because it's been one of those seasons where they've been really consistent and really good at sort of attendance, driving standards and things turning up, and that sort of thing. So it's a question of how can they possibly beat their performance from season 3, and I think they've gone above and beyond and done it again in season 4. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch and pleasure to be the admin.
It has indeed, and I don't want to give you too much disservice here, Alex, but I'd say that Silver's probably one of the easiest leagues to admin of, really. Or that's just me there, sitting from the outside, not doing anything at all, of course. But do you agree that they're a great bunch of drivers, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone's made it easy for me, thankfully, which is very nice of them. But like I said, it's a really close grid as well, so you've got to have respect for each other and show that as well on the track and off the track. So I think, like I said, last season it was a really close grid, and I think even this season with the new game, it really made it as close as possible, really, in most cases. So yeah, it was fantastic to have the Silver guys all racing this season, and it's been, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and I think it's been a cracking season as well.
Going into this season as well, I didn't really have a clue what was going on as Maldonado's took a trip into the barrier there. Talking of Maldonado, New Potato were two drivers, along with Far from Serious Mushroom, who I was predicting was going to be right at the top of the championship this season. I was quite confident about that, but however, that was. It was so difficult to determine who was going to be favourite and who wasn't going to be favourite this season. And that's what I was looking forward to Silver then, because Silver is so incredibly competitive. I absolutely love it then. And you'll see at the end of this season review, at the end of the final table, of how condensed it really is there. But Alex, I made my favourites clear, but unfortunately, the people that I chose, they probably don't like me after this, because every time I choose someone, it goes Pete Tong. Who was you looking at going into the season?
I don't think it was possible to pick one person individually. I think there was, like I said, the whole bunch was capable of getting some wins and getting some good results. So I think, like I said, I was looking at potentially Welsh Baldonado and Farf getting some good results. I wanted Gordo to be up there, of course, because he did a fantastic season last season as well. So yeah, it was I couldn't pick one person, unfortunately, at the beginning of the season, and yeah, it was just a credit to how all the drivers have performed that I couldn't really, because it was impossible. It's just impossible to pick one silver driver to sort of stand out from the rest.
Indeed, and but as you'll see this review go on, there is one driver that definitely has stood out above all else as well, and we'll touch on that driver in just a jiffy or two. Indeed, and goodness me, this race is flying by. We're on lap 20 already. But what an incredible battle this was in Bahrain. And starting off the season in Bahrain, of course, Silver did start off the season in Russia when we first got Silver underway. But the calendar was a bit changed this season in Silver. Now, we talked about it in gold then, and of course, gold are the gold standard drivers. As good as me, Wilson just got a just got a bit of a move on there from TK. It's a great battle indeed. Then, but talking the calendar, Alex, we did have a random calendar in season 3 of ALR. Is the calendar as important as I make it out to be, or am I just looking into it too much? That's a horrific incident, by the way.
Yeah, I think as a that's Mazepin off again, isn't it? So as he did in the real F1. But no, I think in terms of the calendar, it was a really difficult first few races, especially adapting to the new game, getting used to the new game on 2021. So yeah, it was difficult for some drivers, and I think it was sometimes it was difficult. Some drivers found it a lot easier. So it was just going to be that really sort of threw up a few different results, a few different names that were competing for wins and for championships. Like we see Dylan here crossing the line fantastically well, getting promoted from bronze to silver and getting a win in the first race of the season. But yeah, it really just sort of really just made it a bit more lively and a bit more unpredictable, I think, at the beginning of the season.
And you mentioned Dylan coming across the line to win his first Grand Prix in silver after being crowned the bronze champion, and young Tommy in third as well. Young Tommy was battling for relegation for more often than not. That I've been saying it all for the season, which he's probably sick of this now, but I've been calling young Tommy our version of Leicester City, going from relegation survivalist to a champion in a season end. But my goodness me, did you have that on your prediction as Dylan there coming out straight away and winning the Grand Prix? Dylan only won one race, I think, in his bronze championship winning season there, but he was very consistent there. But my goodness me, he looked so quick out of the box here this season there, with closely followed by FIFA Beefy. How impressed was you by Dylan in that race?
Very impressed. He kept his head and kept it under control, which was very difficult with the setups in the new game. So yeah, credit to Dylan for putting on a great performance.
Absolutely mega stuff indeed there for Dylan there. And AlphaTauri there, well, it's the story of the season really, isn't it? AlphaTauri were absolutely supreme stuff indeed, just like they are in the joint constructors as well, after winning that in supreme style indeed. Then with Canada and Deja Vu, Alex. It's another wet race indeed. And also Deja Vu because we got a Williams on pole position. Williams were supreme at the beginning of the season. And Maldonado and New Potato were very much, were so quick in qualifying there, but in the race it just didn't seem to go their ways. New Potato, we seen he had a drive-through penalty in this race. He crashed in Spain then. I don't think that was his fault. And also he spun the car coming off the line in oh dear, oh goodness me, oh my word. And he also spun off the start line in the Bahrain Grand Prix. I must, as a driver, Alex, oh dear, that's getting very very friendly. As a driver, Alex, how did you feel sorry for New Potato?
Yeah, of course. I think he's a great talent. He's a great driver, and no doubt has got the ability to get wins. I think he had a bit of difficulty. Had a bit of difficulty off the start, of course, in Bahrain, as we saw. But yeah, it was just a question of I think there was a glitch on this one with for the Williams guys. It seemed as well for in terms of getting the lights timed wrong. So they both got a drive through, unfortunately. But yeah, I think New Potato, absolute talent of a driver, and he's been lead racing for many years, so he knows how to do it as well. He's a very consistent and clean guy. So yeah, he's had a few difficult races this season as well. Not being where I think he could be and where he should be really, but hopefully he can turn that around next season. I think racing in the third division of HDE, which is the new venture.
And you talked about glitching there. Of course, the Williams drivers having issues there with the lights and all that kind of stuff. How frustrating is that? I know you can't do much about it, and it's kind of like the Lewis Hamilton situation in Abu Dhabi. It's oh dear. It's Wilson seems to get involved with the Red Bulls quite a lot this season, which I found quite amusing, I must say. And I think Bradfield did as well in certain stages there. But how difficult is that to get over these glitches and these bugs in a game now, kind of thing, when it's not your fault? How do you refocus for that? Because that's so difficult, surely.
It's very frustrating. I think it's probably the most frustrating thing about this game is that there's a lot of glitches and things like that sort of ruin your race or negatively affect your race. Of course, it's not like a simple glitch where it's just something that it's just a visual glitch or something like that. It's literally race ruining glitches in some cases as well, which is really unfortunate. It's a shame about this game where it's supposed to be the best F1 game available, and it's sometimes there's issues with it, like I say, with the lights glitch or with safety car glitches and things like that. It just ruins it and ruins races for people, and it ruins the enjoyment of the game for people as well. So yeah, the only thing we can hope for is that these things get fixed and we carry on racing and just keep going and keep plugging away. It's a real shame that we've had a few drivers. I think actually in silver, we've had a lot more drivers for some reason have have these sort of glitches, these effects from Codemasters that has ruined their races, and it's just a shame that that's happened really. And I hope that hopefully that things can get fixed, and the new season has no glitches at all.
Yeah, that is definitely a dream, isn't it? There, and I'm absolutely impressed as unfortunately Reflex is getting spun around there. I'm absolutely impressed with the Williams drivers, especially in this race. They work so hard, and then for it to be taken away so cruelly out of their control is just beyond me. Going back to the front, let's go on to more positive things, shall we? Well, this isn't too positive, unfortunately. FIFA Beefy has lost his front nose cone there. We had FIFA Beefy TK and Umadbro, the COBALT champion. Goodness me, he was fantastic in COBALT last season, one of the best wet wear drivers you'll ever see. But it was FIFA Beefy, Umadbro, TK. A lot of drivers who were at the front, rarely new to Formula One racing, well, to winning, I should say, in silver, because none of those drivers won in silver before. Alex, going to come to this then, of course, you took quite a while to win your first Grand Prix in ALR. How difficult is it to get over, how difficult is it to focus on going for that Grand Prix win then? Do you feel a different driver once you've won one Grand Prix?
I think it really sort of elevates your confidence, your belief in your own ability. When you have got that win, of course, I think a lot of the guys, I think the guys you've named in that earlier have struggled with sort of dealing with that and competing right at the very top of the grid. Like I said, there's been unfortunate incidents here in this race, which has sort of highlighted that as well. But I think over time, that sort of thing, the more races you do, the more sort of used to things you are, the more adaptable you are as well to the game, to different situations in the races, things like that as well. As our real life drivers as well, the more experience you've got, the quicker you can think on your feet, sort of thing. So it will come with time as well, and the guys who've unfortunately not got their win yet, it will definitely happen one day, and hopefully happen very soon.
Definitely, I have no doubt about that. Everyone in ALR has a chance of winning a Grand Prix, in my opinion. And of course, anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, as Murray Walker used to say, and it usually does, doesn't it? That was Umadbro's debut in silver this season. Now, he has floated around a lot of leagues, Umadbro has, but I'm a big fan of Umadbro ever since he stepped foot in COBALT last season. Now, of course, he's the first ever COBALT champion. Did a really good job in Canada. He did end up in bronze towards the end of the season. It was supreme stuff indeed. This was young Tommy's one and only time that he did not score. Well, I think he scored a point in every race, didn't he? I think he must have got a penalty removed or something there. But young Tommy there had a bit of a difficult race, and his teammate Dylan at this time then, it was very much AlphaTauri dominating the championship as we sit here. Dylan got within 3 points of young Tommy in the championship. Curly was very much up there as well. It was Mercedes against AlphaTauri in the drivers championship, Alex. That's very unusual, isn't it, to see two teammates very much at the top of their peak there.
Yeah, it was good to see as well. I think it really sort of spiced it up a bit. So yeah, it was interesting in that. And yeah, I think moving onto Silverstone, we had a really good race from the AlphaTauri and the Mercedes guys again. I think they were sort of stuck in the sort of or the middle of the points, the lower end of the points as well. So yeah, it really sort of made it a bit of an extra addition to the championship.
Oh, I did enjoy having this teammate like aspect of battling at the front. Now we talked about it in gold, where unfortunately Chaz and Pillars had a couple of issues there with stacking and stuff like that. And Alex, you mentioned that hopefully next season that we would have. That we'll maybe have something a little better in terms of real life double stacking and things like that, because we don't like to see drivers being cost time there, because of course they got two teammates at the high caliber of at the high end of the grid. But unfortunately that's Grand Prix race, and Umadbro is got a conga line behind him. Well, there's Umadbro, TK, Dylan, all fighting with each other as well. This was a absolute joy to watch. So you said there how great this British Grand Prix was there. And let's just talk about some of the drivers in the midfield then. Of course, this is Ben Gallagher. I think that he was a super sub halfway through this season. Who was you interested in throughout the season, Alex, in terms of the newbies coming in silver then? Of course, Dylan, who one of the big names that come from bronze to silver then. We also had Reflections and Marvsky as well. For what it's worth, I think Reflections and Marvsky did a superb job, especially Marvsky, because he was feeling a bit that he was a bit out of his depth at the beginning of the season, but towards towards the end, Morski was easy a midfield runner, and if things went his way, he would definitely have had a lot more points on his board, kind of thing. But who was you really interested in from the newcomers into silver?
Yeah, like I said, I think, or the first name you said there was Dylan. I think Dylan was the first name that sprung to mind when you started that. Was I was thinking about how consistent he was in bronze in the previous season, and if he can bring that to silver, which he has done, then there's no doubt that he would have a good season in silver as well. So yeah, hands down, he's really proven that he's got that consistency through the last two seasons now as well, to really get some good points, and he really helped the AlphaTauri team again in the silver constructors and in the joint constructors, of course, as well, in getting some really valuable points. So yeah, he's a credit to him, a credit to Reflection and Marvsky as well. I think they've both done really well. I think they've had, like I said, more difficult seasons than Dylan, but they've both done really well in terms of keeping at it, getting some good points, and at least plugging away and turning up to the races as well. So yeah, fantastic stuff from the other two as well. And you never know, potentially next season it could be their time to shine, sort of thing. So yeah, there's no doubt in the ability of all the drivers in silver, but there's no doubt in the ability of drivers who've come up from bronze as well. So yeah, credit to all three of them.
You see, we've just had Dylan come into the pits there and start off a chain of pit stops here. Silverstone, without a safety car, I think it's a very easy one stop around here, but Dylan pushed too hard on those new tyres there and spun it, but that just shows that he was very much at the edge of the limit and beyond there, Dylan was there. But it's a very much a one stopper in at Silverstone because of the long pit lane. Alex, how are you able to fight against your competitors? Oh goodness, we got another spinner. Oh my word, there. Gosh, there's like Beyblade out there. With the strategy basically nailed on for one stopper. Is there anything you could do in like a race like Silverstone there? Because sometimes on the streams there I do say it's an easy one stopper, and but how do you go about it then? Can you adjust the strategy to your liking here?
It's limited, the strategy, of course. Like I said, it should be a one stop on a sort of normal strategy, that is. So yeah, mediums to softs. But like I said, it's the best way. I know a lot of people will probably say that the strategy side of things doesn't affect them because they have the race pace, and if you've got the race pace, then you'll be faster than the other cars around you. But it does play a factor, of course. Like I said, like we saw earlier, I think it was lap 6 or 7, and we had the top 10 all in the DRS train, which just shows again the ability and the speed and the racecraft of the drivers in silver is second to none, really. And yeah, it just means that the strategy sort of doesn't really play much of a factor without any safety cars and things like that. That is, and it is down to the sort of raw ability and the raw speed, and that's why the field in Silverstone, in most league races, when they're competitive leagues, are so close together because there's little sort of adaptability to the strategy that you can do.
And because it's so close, I must say it must be intense in the car. Surely, one little mistake there could really make or break your season. Now, how intense is that for you? I know that you're one of the more calmer Grand Prix drivers, Alex. You don't really get flustered too often, then. But how do you keep yourself under control in a race like this?
Well, again, you need to focus on your own race and not worry about what's going on around you. Really, I think a lot of people will drive and worry about the strategy, or worry about when the safety car is going to come out next, or worry about the driver behind or the driver in front even. And all you can do really is race your own race, and eventually you'll get to the finish line. So you need to just focus on what you're doing, concentrate on your own race. As Favre wasn't concentrating there as he missed his braking point. But yeah, so you just need to make sure you're focusing on what you're doing, what you can do, and what you can control, and not worry about the stuff that's out of your control. So yeah, it's just down to the mindset and down to the concentration levels and consistency.
And Farfar, of course, he's got a very good record around Silverstone. He won his one and only Grand Prix in silver when he returned to silver last season. This does, and of course, he was very much looking very strong as well until he went to the back of Umabro, unfortunately, and damaged his front wing. I do love Farfar. Well, watching Farfar is all good as me, as Marky was getting a bit optimistic there. I do love watching Farfar in Grand Prix racing. One of the best races I've ever seen, Alex. I think you may disagree with this, well, with Farfar having 12 seconds worth of penalties, but in Austria, it was Farfar against young Tommy. Young Tommy had no penalties. Farfar had 12, but goodness me, Farfar's not giving up that one, was he? He's a man that doesn't like to be overtaken, does he?
No, definitely not. And I think, like I said, especially with the situation with the penalties, it's something that you need to. Everybody needs to sort of keep an eye on and keep cut out really, because of course it really does affect your finishing position in the races as well when you cross that finish line. So yeah, you just need to be very careful and minimise those penalties as much as you can. I think that's where Favre's sort of let himself down really in terms of his results, is because of those penalties. He's fallen down the order at the end of races. But yeah, no doubt he's got the pace. He doesn't like being overtaken, but you can do that and still be a fair and clean driver. And I think right on the edge sometimes is Favre, but yeah, he's still got the points and the ability to sort of prove everyone wrong. So that's good.
Unfortunately for Gallagher, and of course he was only a super sub this year, wasn't he? There, but he really made an impact in the ALR when he drove for us as well as Marsky and Gordo, who are down in 18th and 19th position. There's no retirements in this race, Alex, and for Silverstone, there's so many fast corners you can go off in quite a big way. Remember the double world champion Emerson crashed there twice in 2 years there, as that was absolutely incredible, wasn't it? Umabro ran out of fuel at the end of that race, and young Tommy took the Grand Prix there. With no safety cars there, Umabro must have made an error there with the fuel management there. The fuel's changed on this game, hasn't it there? Of course, with your engine mix and things like that. Could you expand on that, please?
Yeah, so previously and on the last game you could use rich mix, standard mix, or lean mix to save fuel. And obviously the higher you put the mix, the quicker it will run out. And this time, obviously, more realistic. They've changed it so that it is you only have the standard mix when you're racing, and you can only go into lead when you have a safety car or a VSC. So, a lot more people having to think about the fuel strategy, and I think, like I said, with Umabro in this case, unfortunately, just got it wrong. That if he had just that extra point, 0.1 of fuel, he probably would have got to that line and finished first, which was really a shame for him, because he'd done a fantastic race all the way throughout, and it was just a shame that he got pipped to the line by Tommy there. But yeah, it's just something that everyone needs to sort of factor in now when they're choosing their strategies as well, and then choosing their fuel levels to make sure they can get to that finish line.
Shout out to Mark, who did a superb job in the British Grand Prix there. And I think that was going to be the renaissance of Marky. And he was doing a very good job after this race, I remember. He was very much at the sharp end of the field at the Hungarian Grand Prix as well. So he did a really good job there. But yeah, I think that just going back to the fuel issue, I was very impressed with the lack of drivers that had the fuel issues and all that kind of stuff. When the game first came out, one thing that I was expecting was a lot of drivers were going to run out of fuel. I'm not sure about you as a race driver, Alex. I'm sure that all our drivers was not going to run out of fuel then. But how impressed was you about the drivers, and how difficult was you to able to manage it then? Because there's a lot of races with safety cars. We was talking about how regular the safety car was at the beginning of this game then, but how easy is it to really mismanage your fuel?
Oh, 100%. It's very easy, especially if it's a wet dry race where it changes in the middle. You want to save some fuel, obviously, because you don't burn so much fuel in the wet conditions, for example. So if it's changing conditions, it's even worse. So I think we were expecting. I think I was expecting personally a few more people to run out of fuel in races, things like that. We did see that in the very early stages of the season as well in silver with I think it was Beefy and Wilson in Spain having the same issues that Umabro had in Silverstone just now. But yeah, it was just something that, again, with a new game, you have to adapt to and have to adjust to. So yeah, I think everyone did that pretty quickly, pretty well. And I think there was somebody lost it coming through the corner and then got collected by the next car coming through as well. So it was an unfortunate incident there for TK and Jake the Slayer. But yeah, so that's just it's just something that you have to factor in now, really, isn't it? Which is quite good.
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic there. But as a driver, I'll be so frustrated by that. Just watching Farfin at young Tommy once again. These two seem to be joined at the hip at this stage of the season as we go up into Lacombe. Last time out in the British Grand Prix, we had absolutely no retirements whatsoever. And around that circuit as well, I did mention about Emerson having a couple of issues around there. How that shows how great these silver drivers are, in my opinion, to have no retirements at the British Grand Prix. Of course, it's an old school circuit, but on the calendar since 1950. That is mega stuff indeed. We don't get that in league races at all as the rain comes down in Spa as well. Alex, we know about Spa, we know about the Ardennes Forest, and so does you mad bro, unfortunately, as he has hit the wall quite heavily. You know about the rain in, unfortunately, in Austria. I think it cost you a Grand Prix win in the second season. But my goodness me, how are you concerned now about this then, with the rain coming down on such a long circuit? What do you do, Alex? Do you follow your engineer? Do you follow yourself? What do you do?
Well, you have to play it very have to play it right, and of course you have to be on the right tire at the right time, as in any F1 race or any race anyway. But yeah, you just have to make sure that you get on that right tire when the DRS gets disabled. In this case, I think it's probably the best time. It's a very long lap around Spa, so if you're on the wrong tire, it takes an age to get back to the pits. So you need to make sure you go when you're just about to come in, that it's the right time to go in as well. So yeah, it was like I said, interchangeable conditions in this one. It was dry to wet rather than wet to dry. But yeah, it was interesting to see. It really sort of threw up a few more interesting aspects of this race, because I think, as you can see there, the retirees so far have all been in the dry tyres, and I think it was with the dry tyres, sorry, and I think it actually proved to be sort of cleaner and fairer racing in the latter half of this race when it was actually raining.
Yeah, I remember you saying that in the review, which I was actually quite I was quite shocked by. Of course, you're absolutely right, because I must admit I didn't really notice that in the race itself. But when you're so engrossed in what have been fantastic racing, some elements like that does seem to slip my mind. But absolutely fantastic. It once again, and it just shows that these drivers are superb. Oh dear, as Wilson and V Todd there have got a bit too cozy there at the top of Lacombe. You spoke about the long lap around here. What do you have to factor in with such a long lap around Spa? I think it's about 7 kilometers around this circuit. Do you have to change your approach to Grand Prix racing, or is it just an extra long circuit?
It's just an extra long circuit for me personally, but no, it's yeah, it really just makes sure, it means you have to focus, concentrate, make sure you get every aspect of your race, of your lap right, to make sure you can get to that line. And like I said, it is difficult, and a lot of people have issues making sure that they can get to the end of the race. But yeah, it's a really tough circuit, but it's a historic circuit, and it is great to drive.
Yeah, I think it's the best racetrack in the world, in my opinion. I love Spa. It's the best race, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, just you see, we've got a couple of new names in silver as well. We'll talk about Immortal and Fanjo later on, because they have a lot of success towards the end of the season. And from a selfish point of view, I'd love to have seen Immortal and Fanjo and young Tommy and Dylan all in the full season, to see who came out on top then, because I think it would have been an absolute doozy of a battle. Young Tommy at this stage of the season, I'm sure he only had 1 or 2 Grand Prix wins at the moment there. We'll see the best of young Tommy a bit later on then, but it was just these podiums there. Remember about we was talking about Emerson and getting those podiums in season 5 of Gold there, 21 out of 22 podiums there. Young Tommy was doing something similar. In total, he had 15 podiums at the end of this season, with superb stuff indeed then. Far from a credible 4th position there, doing a great job. Dylan in 5th then, as Dylan's season was starting to veer off quite spectacularly. He had a huge smash in Austria there. A huge smash in Austria. It was quite a crucial part of the World Championship as well, because look, the gap is now at 78 points between young Tommy and Dylan there. Alpha Tauro 90 points in front of the Mercedes team. Alpina climbing up to 3rd there in the Constructors' Championship as well. As we go to Singapore, the longest race on the calendar, Alex. I remember that this one was going to teeter on at least an hour in terms of race time there, and looks like we had a bit of a wet race here now. Goodness me. Alex, this I think that this is a circuit that you definitely enjoyed, and you are a bit of a street specialist there. But Singapore, racing around Singapore for an hour, 23 turns there, it is tough, it is twisty, it is tight. How do you do this?
Oh, it's a great circuit. I don't know how you do it still, but I love it. So you just, like I said, I think you need to make sure you're focused on your own race. It is literally just making sure you get out, you stay away from those walls, and you don't get wing damage, and you make it to that finish line. And I think it is incredibly difficult, this track, like you said, especially even more so I think with these conditions, full wet conditions as well. So I think it just proved, and the reason why it was in the review, of course, is because Silver did such a fantastic job in this race. And I think it just shows the ability of all the drivers who participated in this one.
It does. We talked about it in Spa of like no retirements when the weather turned a bit peak tong, and then here to oh gosh, someone's gone off there. Never mind. Oh, it's far. Oh dear, Paul. But yeah, the rain in Singapore. I was no disrespect to the silver driver, but I was looking forward to this because I know it when it rains, and action just seems to ensue. But I think that to stay on the track 31 laps in appalling conditions around here was absolutely superb stuff indeed there. And even the great V Todd, who's an absolutely superb qualifier, even had troubles as well then. But at the moment, Fanjo is leading there with Immortal in second then. They joined the league quite late, Alex. And what did you make of those two drivers then? Of course, they finished in the top three in the end. They were superb, weren't they?
Yeah, well, they came in obviously earlier. Well, had a few races of reserves earlier on in the season, and they were just by far the best candidates for the full time seats when they did become available eventually. So I think it was Welsh Maldonado and Curly Red. So Welsh Maldonado in the Williams and Curly Red in the Mercedes, who had to unfortunately depart for university. I think it was probably midway through the season. So Fanjo and AC Immortal came in, and it's been a fantastic season for both of them since. I think it's been a great addition to the grid.
Yeah, Fanjo in qualifying trim as well. I think he had 7 pole positions in 12 qualifying appearances. Pretty mega stuff indeed then. Mortal leading this race moment with young Tommy second. Maldonado, we was doing a vote, I think, for driver of the day, which hopefully we're going to be doing on our Twitch era for next season when we become Hyperdrive. And I think Maldonado was probably one driver that was definitely on the votes there. But she did a superb job in Singapore. Really well done indeed. Of course, she openly admitted that she wasn't the quickest around here, but that didn't matter because her defensive driving was superb. We talk about how great overtaking is, but how great is it to defend there, and to defend for 20 odd 7 laps around here is pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Oh, 100%. And I think it's very difficult in Singapore and in these conditions to make sure that you get everything right every time, every corner, every entry, every exit. So yeah, fantastic driver, and I think she came in back in the last few races as a reserve, and then eventually as a full-time driver. But yeah, I was a bit. She was a bit worried about this race because having little practice, little time to get used to the track. But you can just see the ability there. Should credit to Welsh Maldonado for once again a fantastic race.
Yeah, really well done indeed there with Maldonado. And just we got a safety car out in the final couple of laps on what has been this was a very long race. This was then in Singapore. I'm sure that this one touched upon just over an hour, and a safety car right at the end of a very long race, Alex. So I must say that's probably the last thing you want, isn't it?
Um, well, I think some people will probably be looking forward to getting the race over with. I think some people might have been enjoying the break where they can just sit behind the safety car and not have to fully concentrate 100%. But yeah, it was just it's something that unfortunately it's bound to happen round here in this race. I think all the incidents of the retirements that we've had so far, unfortunately, were just sort of like we see there, just individual incidents where people have lost a little bit of focus when they're putting the power down or something like that, and it's just caused a spin, and there's walls nearby, unfortunately, around Singapore. So yeah, it's something that's very difficult to deal with. But yeah, the safety cars will be there, unfortunately, in league racing, and they'll definitely be here in Singapore. I can guarantee that.
Oh, and we love it, don't we? Well, I certainly do. I don't love driving on this track, and I'm not a big fan like you around here. It's probably the most painful experience in my league racing career, which was very short, by the way. Unfortunately, Siege and Fanjo came a bit too close together then. I'm surprised that don't happen more often, to be honest, where drivers just seem to merge into each other. We've seen that New Potatoes' brilliant race, unfortunately, was coming to an end wingless. It was a full wet race, said. Some drivers, if I remember, didn't do no pit stops at all, and that is pretty good. Maldonado, Young Tommy, and Immortal didn't do no pit stops at all in this race. Then I know it's a wet track, Alex, but goodness me, that was an incredible innovation and strategy.
Yeah, incredible feat, and I think, like I said, it is possible, but it is difficult, of course. So it just shows, like I said, the talent of all those three drivers, all the drivers really. There's quite a few of them who've done more than sort of 25 laps on those wet tyres. So credit to every single one of them who managed to make it to the line without pitting.
Bradfield there getting one of his brilliant performances there, 19th to 4th. Bradfield, in the, I think it was the second to last race in Australia, got his first podium of his career, and so we're fantastic. Then he got two on the bounce. Then that's a spoiler alert, by the way. But he did a really good job indeed. Bradfield did towards the end of the season. Connects, of course, the super sub as well, doing a fantastic job. Then indeed. Then of course, as we go down the field, then you did mention about Gordo having a bit of a tough season there, but the second half of the season, Gordo, I think, really stepped up a notch there, Alex. And I think that you're definitely right there. Gordo is very good at adapting to these Formula One cars.
Yeah, he's a great driver, and like I said, he's very young, so he's been getting used to league racing, and really enjoying it. It sounds like as well. So yeah, maybe not the season that he wanted, but hopefully next season he can carry on and get back to where he was previous seasons as well.
So this is the stage of the season where unfortunately Dylan actually dropped out of the top three for the first time in his career. In the season, I should say then, because he had a supreme season up until where it just went a bit Pete Tong. From Austria onwards, he had a very difficult time then. Of course, this was the week of Mexico, which was also a tough week because we lost Sir Frank Williams. Of course, one of definitely one of my major childhood memories, and I'm sure the same for you, Alex, as well. Of course, being the Williams team principal. And this is a run down into turn one there. We mentioned it in gold there, but there's much more behaved than what they were in silver there. Keza getting his first pole position on his debut there, but this is what we was fearing might happen. It happened in silver, Alex. What a shame. Talk us about that.
Yeah, it was just a turn one incident, I think, racing incident there, because obviously 3 into 1 is very difficult. And it is a pinch point in Mexico into turn one. It always will be, just the nature of the corner. So it is a very difficult corner to sort of get through side by side with other drivers, especially two other drivers. So yeah, it was really unfortunate for Keza because he came in late into this season as a full-time driver for the Alfa Romeo team, and yeah, it was just a bit unlucky because he was definitely fast enough to get pole position, of course, as he did, but also to get some wins under his belt. Which unfortunately he didn't manage to do this season, but hopefully he can carry that sort of momentum on from the qualifying side of things anyway, and then get some good performances under his belt for next season.
Yeah, looking forward to see what Keza could do when we become hyperdrive for next season as TK. Doing a wild lunge there. I've seen that overtake. Well, I've seen that attempted overtake several times, and I still can't believe that he slowed the car down. Unfortunately, it did go a bit wrong after that then. But from a non-driver point of view, Alex, I'm absolutely get so excited about how well these drivers just break, literally millimeters after millimeters between each braking point, every lap after lap after lap. For this case, 36 laps. Then, how do you guys do it? You're superhuman to me.
Well, that's it. Literally comes down to just concentration, and I know a lot of people, especially in the sort of higher divisions, will have a few sort of engineers, a few people in the party, or maybe other people who are racing, just to make sure that everyone's sort of working together, keeping it calm, keeping that mindset where you just need to focus on what you're doing, what you can do to affect your race, not everybody else's race. Is the best way to keep it consistent and keep it clean. So yeah, I think the concentration is the most important thing, and with that you will get better results. With that you'll get the points, get the podiums, things like that, and get the just rewards for it basically. And a lot of people, I think, will not if they don't concentrate, they don't have the sort of they're not having that sort of focus on their race, then you'll see that they're the ones who most likely will have more incidents or will just spin off the track, that sort of thing, because they're not actually focusing on exactly what's going on in front of them. And I know it's difficult because obviously it is a game and you want to have just a bit of fun with it, really. But for the top tiers of league racing, like Silver is, of course, then you can see the top guys who are consistently at the top, consistently winning races or getting podiums, getting points, are the ones that are focusing on their races week in, week out.
And how do you get that focus then? Because I must say that I'm one guy, as you've seen through my commentary career. I get so excited by just seeing a new beautiful helmet off these drivers. Then, how do you get that focus then? Do you just train yourself then? Is it about just going on time trial and just like getting out and just like going around the circuit and familiarizing yourself? How do you do it from your point of view?
Well, for me myself, I don't know because I've done so many races, so many league racing experiences and things like that. So it's been many years. But obviously, in terms of getting familiarised with the circuit, there's nothing better than doing a few laps on time trial, or even just doing some practice Grand Prix and things like that to make sure that you're familiar with the braking zones, the corners, that sort of thing, making sure you get your setup right to benefit yourself in the race. But personally, myself, in a party, for example, for a race, be a few people in there who are either in the race or just watching the race as engineers or something like that, and it will be deathly quiet. Everyone will be focusing on their race, and then if something happens, then you've got somebody there just to say, right, safety car, or you need to pit this lap, or this person's gaining on you, that sort of thing. So it is beneficial. I know it sounds a bit sort of try hardy, a bit more sort of overkill than you need sometimes. But like I said, again, you're in the party with people that you know, people that you're your mates and things like that. So yeah, it's all good fun at the end of the day. And like I said, it really helps in terms of improving your performances as well.
And that's exactly what it is at the end of the day. This is, of course, about having fun, and of course, also about competing at the highest level as well. Reflections there, spinning off there. I think he had a bit of a help from Paige Baguette as well. And of course, Paige Baguette, a super sub. We'll talk more about Paige Baguette's progress in the COBALT, the COBALT review then, because I think that she's done superb in COBALT, and that's definitely where she's really shown what skill she is, what skill she's got then. Far across the line there, and he's up to third now. Brilliant stuff indeed there. Alex, I'm really grilling you tonight, then. I absolutely love it. But in terms of who's been your surprise package of silver this season, to be honest, I could name about 18 drivers, really, in this league. Then that's how tight silver's been there. But for you as the admin there, who has surprised you? Who have you been? You've been like sat back and thought, wow, that's amazing.
Well, would you mind if I go for the obvious one?
Go for it.
So it's young Tommy for sure, because like I said, when he joined Silver, he joined with I think about 3 or 4 races to go last season. At the end of the season, into a full-time seat, and he struggled, and I think he didn't have the ability, the performance that he showed this season by far, and he was just saved himself in the last race of last season from the relegation zone. So who knows? He could have been racing in bronze this season if things had gone the other way in the last race of season 3. So credit to him. I mean, he's really turned it around and become the man to beat, really, for Silver in the majority of the races from early on as well. So yeah, it just shows he's had one bad season, but it doesn't affect him. He's turned it around. And he's come back and he's won the title with absolutely fantastic performances throughout the season. I think it was 15 wins out of 20, 15 podiums. I think it was something out of 20, which is absolutely outstanding for one driver to be 75% of the races he's been on a podium is absolutely amazing. So yeah, it just shows hands down he's been the best driver in Silver this season. So yeah, he's my pick.
And I would not disagree with that whatsoever. He's been supreme, hasn't he? Dylan and young Tommy, I think, in the Alpha Tower have been absolutely supreme stuff indeed. I was, at the beginning of this review, I was saying about the Haas team and the Williams team, which is going to be the team to beat. No disrespect to young Tommy or Dylan, but I do like my own stats, and I always go on stats in terms of my predictions. I was not expecting the Alpha Tower team to be at the sharp end of the field, and not at the sharp end of the field so consistently, but my golly gosh, stats don't mean nothing, do they? which hurts me a bit because I love them. But it certainly does that. It's brilliant indeed, and I absolutely love it. That's why we love Grand Prix racing, is that that's why I love silver and I love gold and I love cobalt as well, because you can never predict what is going to happen, can you? And gold as well, because would I have predicted about Gurman this season? Definitely not that. Even though Gurman's been a fantastic driver over the season, he only finished fifth last season, and according to me stats, then it was not Gurman who was going to be. Oh goodness me, that was close. Then it was Wilson there, as unfortunately took a trip into the barrier now. But absolutely fantastic stuff. That's why I love Grand Prix racing, isn't it? It is the pinnacle of what we love to do, isn't it? There's New Potato's in the Grand Prix at the moment. This is the first time that New Potato in his ALR career has never won a race in the season he's competed in, which is quite disappointing there from New Potato. Then of course he's the first ever bronze champion. He has just been one of the most unluckiest drivers in the season as well. Let's go to V Todd then, because he's the best qualifier in my opinion, pound for pound, of anyone in ALR, or certainly in silver. Alex said, of course, he did drive in gold last season there, but he did request to come back down to silver, and he's very much a silver legend in ALR, isn't he?
Yeah, V Todd, I think he's been in since the get-go as well, since
Yes.
from silver. So he's been in for 4 seasons now of ALR, and an absolute veteran as well. So no, it's a pleasure to have him in the grid, because he's a really good driver. He's got the ability by far to get some good wins, get some good results. Got promoted, of course, from silver to gold, and then had one season in gold and decided that he, I think a bit availability wise, had to come back down to silver, purely because of work situations and things like that, and that sort of that the sort of driver that we want to keep around. So there's no reason why we wouldn't have moved him down, I think, because he's got that talent. He's been a absolutely fantastic person to have in ALR in the whole of the time that he's been in. He's been absolutely outstanding as a driver and as a character off the track as well. So yeah, those are the sort of people that we want to keep around, and it just shows in his ability and in his personality as well.
I know, talking of someone who's been here right from the start, then is Immortal and Fanjo have been swapping positions since the get-go. As I think Fanjo's now on the soft tyres. I think Immortal was on them older medium tyres, if I remember rightly, which is probably not the case. So look at the penalties there. We spoke about penalties, well, not in this season review, but in the last season review then. But penalties around here, Alex said, was certainly very much at a premium as well. But Immortal had 9 seconds worth of penalties, which unfortunately ultimately cost him the Grand Prix win. Fanjo took the Grand Prix win here in Mexico superbly well indeed then. But I take it it's very difficult then with this race with penalties, Alex.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's one of the tracks that just lends itself to extending a corner or getting out a warning here and there, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very fast-paced circuit, especially in Sector 2, where it's very easy to get warnings and track extend there. So yeah, I think no reason why. Well, it's obvious it's going to be a few more penalties than usual around Mexico. But yeah, credit to the drivers who minimised those, and those are the ones who've got a good result.
Indeed, and again, Bradfield there, as I said, the second half of the season has been actually really impressive indeed there, from 10th to 4th this time around. We'll talk about Sirius Mushroom as well in just a second, because he's never missed a race in his silver career, which is absolutely incredible stuff there. We was mentioning earlier on about drivers that turned up and even though they're having a difficult season. Sirius Mushroom, statistically, I did say statistics don't mean nothing there, but there we go. But statistically, Sirius Mushroom, this has been his worst season to date then, but he has got a valid point, and he was driving the Haas team, which it's not been the best race car, has it? Of course, young Tommy is the champion of silver. Then he dominated this season. He was in impressive form indeed. Then McLaren there, and Haas going in front of Alpine as well. AlphaTauri was so close. I think won the constructors in the Australian Grand Prix 2 races later. Then, and the final race of season 4 of silver, and the final race of silver as well. Alex said, I must say, I think you must have a tear in your eye, because I certainly did it this one.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to watch this one as well. I think, yeah, it just sort of rounded off the season in style as well. Unfortunately, with a first lap incident there, but I think I just want to say thanks to all the guys who've raced in silver, really, because like this season's been absolutely fantastic. And I think, like I said earlier in the review, I think silver's got better and better every season. And there's no reason why season 4 hasn't been anything different from that as well, because it's been much closer racing, much more competitive racing, a much better group of people who've put together sort of on and off track fantastic sort of performances as well. So yeah, absolute pleasure to be an admin for Silver as well. And I think, like you said earlier, it's been very easy for me because these drivers have been an absolute spectacle to watch and to work with.
Indeed, then you've done a great job as well in silver. But as you've touched on there, then I don't think silver has been the most challenging league this season, has it? There, but I think over the years that if you've been doing silver, it's been an absolute. It's been going like clockwork, hasn't it? There, which is very much akin to your personality, Alex. Superb stuff. Of course. So let's just round off this review then with a couple of honourable mentions. There, Cirrus Russian, then he's had a very difficult season, but Cirrus Russian, then a Grand Prix winner. He's racing every single race in silver. Superb stuff indeed there. FIFA Beefy, this season I was predicting that FIFA Beefy and TK in the Alpine team was going to be probably the best of the rest there, and very much multiple Grand Prix winners, podiums as well, but that just hasn't to be, has it there? FIFA was very close in this race as well, but we'll take a look at that later on then. We got a lot of spinners in turn 3 there. Goodness gracious me, it's very violent over there, to say the very least as well, as we just got reflections there also recovering then. But yeah, Jake the Slayer and Bradfield in the Red Bull team, I think that what would you make of their seasons, Alex? And as I've mentioned there, Bradfield in the last 4 or 5 races has really elevated himself. He's been in the top 4 or 5 positions in the last 5 races of the season there. And Slayer in qualifying trim is pretty good on his day, but he seems to get involved in so much shenanigans during the race, or something goes a bit awry for him.
Yeah, I think they've not had the most sort of amazing seasons themselves. I think they'd say that themselves as well, because there's been opportunities for them to get more points in races where they've had incidents or had difficulties. But I think overall, both the Red Bull drivers have done a fantastic job. They've had a great season in terms of consistently getting in the points, even if it's a couple of points here or there or something. They've been able to get into top 10 as well and been really good. So fantastic stuff from the Red Bull and Red Bull guys, and it's been a pleasure to have him in the league, like I said, for as well as everybody else. But just going back to just quickly, I just want to say something about Serious Mushroom, because like I said, he's been an absolute star for in ALR. In every single race for 4 seasons in silver, he's been in every single one of them. I can't believe that. And I know I think it was only a few races ago when you started saying that, and I heard it on the stream, and I was like, there's no way that's right, and I thought, he must have missed 1 race or something. But to do, I think is 70 plus races consecutively,
80 now.
80 plus consecutively, then that's absolute credit to Serious Mushroom. He's been an absolute monster, and a pleasure to have in ALR as well. And like I said, with V Todd, consistently racing and being a really good guy on and off the track. These are the type of drivers that we want, and I think that's why Silver is so successful, is because it's got the those sort of characteristics in the drivers as well. And it just shows that Silver is absolutely amazing.
It is indeed, and of course the one more driver that we've got to mention as well is Wilson, and I think he was the 68th start in silver as well. Wilson there picks up a lot of points then, and does go under the radar every so often indeed. Then he just seems to pop up right at the end then, but he has had a difficult. He's in these race reviews. Unfortunately, we've seen probably the worst of Wilson, not the best of Wilson this season there, but he's finishing a top 10 once again there. Wilson, he's solid if not spectacular. Would you agree with that sentiment there, Alex?
Yeah, I'd say he's had a really good season. I think I'd liken him to sort of Dan Murphy in gold, where he's had a really consistent season as well. I know, like you just said he's had a bad race in the review, but overall throughout the 20 races, there's nobody I think that's had more consistency apart from maybe young Tommy. In terms of scoring points and getting into the points as well. So yeah, credit to Wilson, of course, plugging away, and he's turning up to all the races as well this season as well. So fantastic stuff from him, and got the result for it really, because I think he finished in I think it's P5 in the standings for the drivers, which is a massive improvement from season 3.
Indeed, he's very consistent indeed. Then, and of course, as the review is starting to wind down and the final couple of laps, and this is getting very tasty. This battle between FIFA, Beefy, and Gordo, as of course these two drivers have now won a race and they want to win their first race and their final race in silver. Indeed, then one final word from you, Alex, as silver overall. Then,
one final word. Well, there's two actually. It's just thank you really, because they've done an absolutely splendid job. Every single race, week in, week out, all the drivers have done a fantastic job. So, there's nothing bad I can say about any driver in silver. They've all done absolutely brilliantly this season and previous seasons as well. So yeah, it's just been an absolute pleasure to have everybody in silver, racing in silver season 4. And I think it's going to be even more spectacular next season as well. We're going to go on to, like I said, the new venture with HDE between PBE and ALR merging together. So it's going to be even bigger and better. So I'm looking forward to the success that's going to bring as well. And I'm looking forward to these drivers showing what they can do in the new league as well.
I am indeed. I'm so looking forward to next season because it is going to be absolutely incredible, isn't it? I cannot wait to see drivers like Gordo mixing up with some drivers from PBE and so on and so forth. This final race of silver kind of just this final lap of silver just kind of underlines what silver is like, really, isn't it? We got Gordo and FIFA Beefy, two drivers that have never won a race in silver, albeit Gordo has finished first twice, albeit that win did get taken away from him because unfortunately he was on the wrong tyres in Italy, and I can't remember what happened to him in Canada. I think he had a penalty. But look at this. These two drivers were desperate for a Grand Prix win, wasn't there? They overstepped the mark, unfortunately, going through here, then, which was such a shame then. But goodness me, it was a great watch for me there. But I know that drivers were a bit unhappy about that. So I think there was just a bit of desperation towards them then. And then we had a cracking battle between Flora then, who got himself out of the relegation zone just about this Grand Prix win. This was his first Grand Prix win as well. And Florin had showed flashes of brilliance. We haven't spoke about Florin in this review because he came in so late. But my golly gosh, really good end to see as well with Florin there to get his Grand Prix. But it was young Tommy was the class of the field this season. As Alex said, he had 15 podiums this season. Really well done indeed. Looking forward to see what young Tommy could do as he elevates his status even further for next season. Then, wow, silver has been an absolute privilege to commentate on. I'm going to miss commentating on a lot of these drivers for next season, but I will be keeping an interested watch, or an interested eye, I should say, on these guys. It's going to be fantastic indeed, that isn't it? Of course, but the final classification from Abu Dhabi then was Florin took his first Grand Prix win. And I think that's going to be the first of many for Florin because he is a driver with a lot of potential behind him. Then young Tommy, the champion, the class act, then AlphaTauri are also the constructors champions as well. Dylan and young Tommy were supreme, weren't they? Really well done indeed. Dylan just about missed off from getting 2 promotions in a row there. Very unlucky towards the end because I think he got involved in so much shenanigans, unfortunately, as we go down to the final class, as we go down to the bottom of the standings as well for Abu Dhabi. Coming up next then will be the awards for silver then, and all drivers deserve the awards, but only one can be. See you later. Goodbye.
Immortal is less than a lap away from home then. He has led the race from start to finish, Immortal hasn't he? He has been very much a king of Spa tonight, hasn't he, Immortal? Impressive stuff indeed. Fangio has won his 4th Grand Prix win of his season here in the Mexican Grand Prix. Superb driving there for the Williams team tonight, and from Fangio going from 16th on the grid there to win this race out. It was the hard stint then to begin with, but absolutely propelled him right up there. Really good stuff indeed then. But here is young Tommy there. It's been very much it's been pressure on young Tommy, hasn't it? But goodness me, he's led from almost start to finish. He's called the strategies perfectly, and today in the rain in Suzuka, young Tommy is the silver world champion for season 4. He is the world champion of ALR silver. Young Tommy is the season 4 silver world champion. Magnificent stuff indeed. Tommy said another fast on the race, and he's going for the full shebang of points, isn't he? And there is the Williams said, as he said, look at this, DRS has now been enabled, so this might make it slightly easier for Serious Mushroom. Serious Mushroom will not get the DRS effect now until the end of this lap, then he is at the inside of VTOD, and VTOD just pushing, and now he's got it in. Franjo has won his fourth Grand Prix win of his season here in the Mexican Grand Prix. Superb driving out for the Williams team tonight, and from Fanjo going from 16th on the grid there to win this race out. It was the hard stint then to begin with, but absolutely propelled him right up there. Really good stuff indeed then. But here is young Tommy there. It's been very much, it's been pressure on young Tommy, hasn't it? But goodness me, he's led from almost start to finish. He's called the strategies perfectly, and today in the rain in Suzuka, young Tommy is the Silver World Champion for Season 4. He is the World Champion of ALR Silver. Young Tommy is the Season 4 Silver World Champion. Magnificent stuff indeed there.
My word, then Wilson now up into a very solid sixth position. A great stuff indeed. Wilson potentially could be back on the podium like he was last week as well. So hats off to Wilson here tonight. Mega stuff indeed there for the McLaren driver. Before so young Tommy said another fast out of the race. Really impressive stuff indeed there for young Tommy on lap 35 out of 36 then. And Wilson cut across the line, and he is now in sixth position there. He's having a look at Serious Mushroom, who's in at fifth. My goodness me, the sun has finally come out to shine, hasn't it? And absolutely incredible stuff. But it's Dylan who's going to win his second Grand Prix of a silver campaign, and this is one more Grand Prix than his entire championship campaign in bronze. Dylan wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Oh, fantastic Grand Prix as well. Oh, magical stuff indeed.
But here is young Tommy there. It's been very much, it's been pressure on young Tommy, hasn't it? But goodness me, he's led from almost start to finish. He's called the strategies perfectly, and today in the rain in Suzuka, young Tommy is the Silver World Champion for Season 4. He is the World Champion of ALR Silver. Young Tommy is the Season 4 Silver World Champion. Magnificent stuff indeed there.
My word, then Wilson now up into a very solid sixth position. A great stuff indeed. Wilson potentially could be back on the podium like he was last week as well. So hats off to Wilson here tonight. Mega stuff indeed there for the McLaren driver. Before so young Tommy said another fast out of the race. Really impressive stuff indeed there for young Tommy on lap 35 out of 36 then. And Wilson cut across the line, and he is now in sixth position there. He's having a look at Serious Mushroom, who's in at fifth then. Oh my goodness me, this is going to get very interesting. The gap is 0.3 of a second there between Wilson and Fanjo there, but Wilson there, who, well, I've been saying about fast with my driver today, but I'm going to have to once again retract my statement there, because it's been Wilson and Bradfield there once again showing their strategical mindset. Absolutely brilliant, aren't they? And they're both going to be awarded, I think, with a podium finish at this moment in time there.
Look at the rain, it's going horizontally, isn't it?